Yeah, hello and welcome back to day two of ConWorxx. So I'm here with my very good friend Jason Dinger, and he's my guest now. And Jason, how are you? How is the early morning for you? What's the local time, Jason?
It's actually 9:17 in the morning.
So it's early. So and how are you doing right now?
I'm good. I would have done better, but this week at work was really hectic, and I got my days mixed up. And I apologize. I thought this was next week, and
And
I was up very late last night, and so I'm just waking up now.
But you don't have to. First, you don't have to apologize, Jason. It's me that is grabbing some time from you on a Saturday, on a free day. So no need to apologize. But actually, I think it's wonderful talking to you after some time again. So I love to talk to you, and not only because of games. And we have already some people here in the chat that were missing you. So we have Stefan Risthaus, who's there, and he yesterday when he presented on the first day of ConWorxx, he presented his new Gentis, and he was thanking you for the vessel module for that. So great work. And there's also Claude. Yeah, hello everyone. Hello to Jason. So this is directed
Hi,
to
everyone.
you. And Mo, this brute, Mo Canalis, is also there and greeting you. Yeah. Earlier in the talk before, I was mentioning let's get back to the Skype screen because I was showing something else because of the pretty faces, and he said pretty faces here, and he's probably right though. But I think with you, Jason, you look a little bit that you woke pretty
I'm
late,
a
but
little
otherwise
definitely rough right now.
but otherwise it's fine. So topic for today will be the third game in the, and hopefully my pronunciation is getting better and better, in the Cajun, is it Cajun trilogy. So
Perfect. Yes.
I'm improving a little bit here, at least in this regard. So it's Acadian. So you know that there are two games already out in this trilogy of games. The first one was Captains of the Gulf. If you've seen yesterday, ConWorxx yesterday, the first day, I had this nice shirt of Captains of the Gulf. And the second game is Crescent City Cargo. And now we are looking forward to finish this trilogy off. But Jason, what is Acadian? So what type of
Yeah.
game is this?
Thematically, Acadians is about the early settlers, the Cajun settlers, when they came to Louisiana at the time. Louisiana was not part of the U.S. It was
Mm-hmm.
owned by Spain, and as they were kicked out of Acadiana, which is now Nova Scotia, because the British made them. You have to swear off your religion, swear to the British Crown, swear your allegiance to the British Crown to our religion, and they said no, and the British said, well, we'll just burn your houses then,
Mm-hmm.
and so they did, and the Acadians got in their boats and went down the eastern seaboard trying to find a place to live. And as they'd stop in place in the U.S., um, they'd say, "No, we really don't want anybody right now. Well, maybe one family, and
Um,
the rest, yacht. We didn't. I'm sorry.
we had a bad connection. Can you repeat the very last part here? So I at least I missed
Oh,
this. Can
okay.
you?
So as the
Oh, we are having some problems here.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, but now it's fine again. So please restart. So
Okay. Okay.
I'm not trying to make this up,
So as
Jason.
they were so as they were coming down the eastern seaboard, the different areas in America would let maybe one family get off the boats, and the rest. We can't take that many people. So it was such a long journey. By the time they got to Louisiana, they were just hardened, grizzled people had been living on boats for for so long, and the Spanish were happy to take them because they were the same religion and because these are lots of untamed swamp with tigers and alligators. And the Spanish said, "Yeah, y'all want this place? Come on in. If you'll go out and make something of it, we'll trade with you." And some of the Acadians had gone back to France, and the Cajun Indians here said, "No, come on, come." We so you had a large, and where Cajun comes from is it's a bastardization of Acadian. If you say it fast with Cajun French is sort of a muddy French language because they like I said they were a hardy people living on boats and then living in the swamp separated from the more what's the word, the more refined aspect of the French culture. And so when you say Acadian with the French accent, Cajun, it's Cajun is
Okay.
a bastardization of Acadian.
Okay.
So anyway, so the game is about those settlers, harvesting wood and lumber, excuse me, wood and clay, the local resources, and hunting alligators and trapping muskrats and using those materials to either trade with the Spanish merchants that were here or to build up their communities on the land that the Spanish had given them. And you're building camps, which could be, homes, or, a lot of times their homes are where they worked out of, a fisherman's camp or a woodworker's camp. And you're building churches. We're the only state of 50 in the U.S. that we don't have counties.
Okay.
So many cities make up a county. In every state we have parishes because it was built based on how the churches were sprouting up. So the churches were important. And then obviously the trade with the Spanish merchants. Mechanically, the game has dual linked rondels where there's a rondel in a rondel. The inner rondel is the island of Morgan City, which is where I live. We are an island surrounded by swamp. And the outside is the swamp. And their boats to go out in the swamp to get the resources that they then come back in to either build or trade with the merchants. And you have to process those resources into more refined versions of themselves. Wood becomes lumber, clay becomes brick, muskrats and alligators become fur pelts and leather respectively. And it's sort of a war game dressed as a Euro. In that you're fighting over territory. I can't actually take your stuff away, but there is a fight for supremacy in an area, for having for dominating areas, and it's different how they score between the merchants, which are on the outsides, and the communities, which are on the top and bottom. And the primary mechanic that you play in the game is my take on card-driven games. War games.
Jason, I'm interrupting you for a second because I think this is an important thing, but I want to go to the chat in between here. We had some bad connection, but I think it's improving. But designer Daniel Newman is saying, holy shit, it's Jason Dinger. So people are missing you here. Yeah, I think this is a good comment. Holy shit, it's Jason Dinger. And Stefan, he has great eyes. He's seeing first goal in the Backsoul sports game. So it's over there. Okay.
First and goal. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the best football game ever designed.
Okay. So
excuse me. I'm sorry. American football.
Yeah,
the best
I guess
American
that.
football game.
I guess that.
Yeah.
And what else? And Canny B Blue is saying Cajun is related to Acadian. Cool. Yes. So a connection seems to be improving. Yes. And Claude is saying, I tested Acadians a while ago. I'm curious to see how the game evolved. I must also complete the Cajun trilogy. So he is eager for the third game out there. But you were mentioning the card-driven take and what you are doing in this game. So please go on. I may interrupt you again.
Yes.
It's not because I'm a rude person. I am,
I,
you know that. It's but to have some comments here included.
yes. So uh, an early version of Acadians was a very small, two-player only, 30-minute lighter game. Um, and it shared a lot. I mean, you were still getting the wood and the brick and turning it into lumber and clay and the alligators. It shared all of that, but it was sort of, you know how in Hospital Connect, you draft discs and discs
Yes.
of certain colors, do certain things. It wasn't exactly like that, but there was a little. There was three cards on display, and each card had three discs, and you would draft a card and a disc, and the thing was you had to play your cards. And the so it was action selection based on the combination of discs
Mm-hmm.
that you use. But as I kept going, that game didn't fit. That mechanically, it was too light. I liked it, but it didn't fit the trilogy. It was, and so I started playing with the card-driven mechanic. But for what Acadians was, pure CDG didn't work. It wasn't the fault of the mechanic. It was, I'll say, it was my ability to make that mechanic work there. It felt too open-ended, where your decisions didn't matter, whether I play for the event on the card or play for the points. Well, I'll just take these points and do this thing. Um, so there's no tension in the decisions. And somewhere along the line, I got the idea to take that action selection based on the colors of the disc and blend it with CDG. And so you don't have points at the top of the card that you're choosing to spend on actions. You have, one or two discs of different colors, and those colors represent types of actions, resources. So either harvesting the resource or processing the resource. Uh, um,
We are having
hiring workers.
we're having some connection
I can hear you
problems
fine.
again, but I think we are back here again. But
Okay.
the essence here, what is important is if you have a card, you have several options. Like in card-driven war games, you can do several actions, and this is the central mechanic in the game, right?
Yes. Yes. You play a card to either get the discs that it gives you, and those discs represent a type of action, or the event or events on the card, which are usually better versions of those actions, but they pigeonhole you into a certain thing where you have to do exactly this. So I can get a better benefit, but I don't have as much freedom in my choices. And so that's where the decisions come from.
Yeah, this is a great mechanic. And by the way, there is also Nick Naylan here in the chat. He's saying, "Good to see you, Jason. Been too long." Yes, this is also true. Even I'm even missing you on Twitter with your great and funny stuff. But I certainly understand if somebody says, "Well, social media is not for me," or I try to be stay away from this for most of my time. I totally get this, but people, we are still missing you. And Daniel is saying, "Hey, I made a game where you get discs too. Did you steal my ideas?" With a link. No, yeah. But of course, this is why
I'm
I'm.
not that creative. I'm not that creative to steal someone else's idea and make it work. I definitely didn't steal his idea.
But this is why I'm always recording this. So afterwards, I know I'm writing down the best moments from everything, and then I do my game. And this will be a brilliant game. I can already guarantee you. Um, Back to Acadia. So this is gamer's game, but complexity-wise, in German terms, where would you put it? Would you say it's a Kennerspiel or is it above Kennerspiel already? Not easy to
I'm the
do.
worst at this. Yeah, I'm the worst at figuring out the weight of my games, because to me they're not hard at all, because I'm, you know what I mean, because I made them. So I'm always thinking about. I think it's definitely heavier than my previous two
Yes. Mhm.
games. Um, it's not a family weight game for sure. I'm awful at. And one time I said one of my games was heavy or medium heavy, and someone got really upset and offended by that, as if and so I've just always been really hesitant to say, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, so, some
it's not
people.
Carcassonne. It's
Yeah, if sometimes people are saying, "Well, this is easy," and then you'll notice it's not that easy. That they think you under or overestimate their ability. So it can be tricky. So yeah, Yogo de Anno weight, Yogo do Anno weight. Yeah, maybe. No, I think personally, because I've of course played versions of this game, I would say it's. Yes, it's a little bit more complex at Captain's and Crescent City Cargo, but I would still say it's Kennerspiel level in Germany. So it's not a very difficult game. It's difficult to master it because you have to select a single card when you do an action and then determine what you're doing. Do I try to get more discs? And the discs have various functions, of course, in the game, or do I do the other action that is more like an event type action in there? And so mechanical complexity isn't that high. But yesterday, sorry for people who watched this already yesterday, we had a brief discussion in one of our talks of coin games and card driven games, and we were basically talking about war games. And one thing that makes card-driven games complex is this, I call it ludic complexity, because you get a certain number of cards in your hands and then have to determine what to do. And this means, let's say I have 6 cards in my hand. I first have to determine which card to play first. And then, on top of that, I have to determine, do I play it for points or for the event, or maybe a third option that is also on this card. And this is a complex decision. And no matter how complex the rest of the game is, this is complex. And so this is when I'm saying it's not necessarily mechanical complexity, but decision making. This tree to come to your decision, this road is not that easy. Would you agree, Jason? Jason is not agreeing.
yeah, oh, yeah. It's definitely yes. No, it's definitely not difficult as far as rules complexity or to understand the basic mechanics how it plays. I definitely agree there. But playing the most efficiently, especially all of my games, a big part of the gameplay comes down to what your opponents are doing.
Mm,
What your actions relative to what they're
mm,
doing and how the game state changes. In Crescent City Cargo, and in Captains, this particular thing happened in Crescent City Cargo. It very much happened the resources that are available in different areas are constantly changing as things are being harvested. The locations to build and sell are constantly changing, and so it's not difficult to learn, but playing the best in that play of it based on how things are laid out and being the most efficient is where I think the complexity can come in.
yes, I agree. Especially what you said earlier is important, that it's a kind of area majority type game. So you have to have more discs in an area, you have to build a majority of camps or build or have more churches like the other in an area, and you have to constantly watch what the other players are doing. And this is in a 4-player game to determine what are the other players, which strategy they are following. This is not a simple thing, of course. And by the way, Claude here is definitely confirming what you are saying. I feel like Jason, to me, Grand Trunk and Smoky Valley are very easy to play. But when I see other people play, I realize that it's not that easy. Yeah, as a designer, you never had to, as Claude is saying, you never had to learn the game. basically, because you build it
Hmm.
up from bottom to roof. And Nick is saying, and I agree 100% here, the passion behind the themes is what makes your games special. And I think so. Nick, and he was a tester for Acadians too, and I think so. Nick is thinking each one has been better than the last. So yeah, and you see that it's a really great trilogy. Another thing that I would like to briefly mention is some people think if there is a series of board games, all have to use the same mechanics. So it's and this is and there's nothing which is bad about this. But what I like, and you see also in the Spielworxx catalog, is Claude, Griffintown series, but the two games so far that are out, Grand Trunk Journey and Smoky Valley, now in pre-order, they are mechanically totally different. Matt Wolf, who will be later my guest, Urban Evolution series, Squaring Circleville is totally different mechanically from Raising Chicago. So, but it's still within this series. I think it is a series of games, Urban Evolution. Same is true for your games, Captains of the Gulf, Crescent City Cargo, Acadians. If you look at it from a mechanical point of view, no, there is some connection, of course, but there's very little connection. But it's still a series because of the topics of the game, Cajun trilogy, and I love that you are so true to that spot. So my congratulations to you there. How do you see
Yeah.
this? Serious and same mechanics?
Yeah. The the intention was never to design, never to have them share. Like, the fact that they all have rondelles is just kind of that's what comes out of me naturally. That wasn't. It was never the intention was never to design them to share mechanics necessarily. The trilogy is about the boats and waterways here and how they're such an integral part of our culture and our economy.
Mm.
And I would I actually uh, I would not want each game. I think each game mechanically in that I took a certain, uh, you know, like I said, a certain aspect, finding a unique way to use a rondelle, and taking and implementing it. But again, that wasn't even intentional.
Mm.
That's just what came out of me.
Yeah, but I think
Sorry,
it's
hold on, let me.
yeah, no worries. We are having a bad connection here. I
No,
thought you switch off. Yeah, you're back here again. So
I wake me up. My
yeah.
alarm went off to wake me up, and I had to go deal with it. So I had to go shut it off. I'm sorry.
No worries here. And Daniel is saying Daniel, you're a very positive person I'm seeing here because he's saying, I kind of have a death trilogy with Dead Man's Cabal, No One Lives Forever, Unsigned, and London Necropolis Railway coming next year. We will talk about this game a little bit later. So yeah, the Death trilogy would be a fitting serious name. I'm not sure, but yeah, well, it is what it is. Uh,
But
Jason, I
it is
don't.
October.
Pardon? Pardon? And then,
I'm saying it is October, so
yeah,
it is
maybe
October.
it is a fitting name for,
So
for
the
this
time for
month.
Halloween, and yeah. So
Yeah, it is what it
and
is.
also, Daniel, to be fair, I stole the disc idea from Thomas Spitzer. To be fair, if anybody, so, not
So
really, but that's it came after playing one of his games. To be fair, but yeah,
yeah, Hasperknate
the
most
but
probably. Yeah, so but that's fine. You
yeah,
steal from the best. Why invent it themselves when it can be stolen? So that's only fair. And Daniel is saying he was 100%
and,
kidding about the disc thing. So no worries here. And he's
yeah.
saying also, I'm sure I stole it from several games, and it's happening in our industry. But Jason, I would like to thank you very much for on an early Saturday morning to give us some time, some insight into Acadians. Look for this game in the future. I'll be in touch soon, Jason. All the best to your family, and people are missing you simply. So you're a wonderful person and a wonderful designer. And for everybody, there's High Taboo, yeah, and for everybody,
I want to show that's what I want.
and for every viewer, thank you for your time. And yeah, at let me see, at 5 p.m. I'm having Matt Wolf on Raising Chicago here. And wow, they look at what's his or her name? What's the name?
That that's Lionel. That's my grand dog. That's my son and daughter-in-law's dog, and I'm going to blame him for why I was up so late last night because we're puppy sitting right now, and
Ah,
he's a ball of energy and kept me up till 2 a.m.
oh
So
wow.
so yeah. So
Then it's very
it's all
then
his fault.
oh, but what a nice one. What a nice one. So wonderful. Yeah. Thank you all for your time. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Jason.
So it's all
Pardon? I didn't get
I'm
this.
saying it's all his fault that I was tired this morning.
Yeah, of course
It's
somebody.
all his fault that I was tired this morning.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always somebody else's fault. No, I get this. All is good, and talk to you soon. And I'll be back at 5 p.m. with Matt. Thank you very much.